When something is a gold standard, it's considered the best way to do something. It doesn't mean it's perfect, it just means that we haven't found anything better yet. In this case, we're talking about the gold standard to treat ADHD that psychiatrists are using currently. It doesn't mean it won't change in the future. In fact, they're already talking about changing it. There's some scientific evidence that's come out recently that we'll discuss in a little bit. So what is the gold standard for ADHD? Well, the first thing is medication, and we're talking specifically about stimulant medication. There's all sorts of research that's come out recently that stimulant medication actually increases brain volume. No evidence as to whether or not that's a good thing or makes it more effective. The implication is that it's good. And we've found that stimulant medication helps with ADHD a great deal. Now, this is a bit of a controversial topic because some people don't like stimulant medication. That's understandable. But what most stimulant medication does is it increases the breaks that we have. So as ADHDers, we now have more control over our executive functions. It doesn't mean that we instantly have skills and we can do things like plan and, task prioritization and all that. We have to learn how to do those things like anybody else. The next item on the gold standard for helping ADHD is actually exercise. This is something I've talked a lot about, and exercise is really good for you. It's good for everybody, but it's really, really good for people with ADHD. Specifically, we're talking about exercises that involve balance. Things like running and rock climbing and martial arts and standing on a wobble ball and dance and all of those different kinds of things. Now, the good news is you don't have to do very much of it. Probably about 15 to 30 minutes a day is plenty sufficient. At least that's what the literature says. The really cool part is that the effects of exercise for ADHD can last 2 to 4 hours afterwards. Now, what are the effects, you might say? Well, I probably should have gotten into that first. But exercise is fantastic for ADHD, specifically with balance, because it helps with emotional regulation, it helps with impulse control, it helps with increasing our executive function, and we get all sorts of, side benefits that other people get, like, for example, lower blood pressure and weight loss and more muscle tone and longer lifespan and, all of those other cool things. But exercise is about the single best thing that we can do as ADHDers aside from taking stimulant medication. Now, the final item on the list for the gold standard is actually two different things, and you can do both of them, or you can do one of them, or, in one corner we have therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy, and CBT is going to talk to a therapist and working through, past issues or things that you're dealing with now, or any of those types of things. And it can be really helpful to work through some of those past things and to figure out where you're at and what you need to work on. In the other corner is ADHD coaching. ADHD coaching is kind of a new thing where you go and work through specific problems that you're dealing with regarding with ADHD, and the coach is able to help you work through those problems and figure out solutions. Therapists have to go through a very rigorous program and become certified, etc. And practically anybody can go out on the internet and say, hey, I'm an ADHD coach, and there really isn't a certification that's required for them to be able to do that. So if you're going to go the coaching route, you need to really be careful that the person you're working with actually knows what they're talking about. Otherwise, it's about as effective as, talking to a self-help bro on YouTube. Now, there might be some changes coming down the pipe for what's considered to be the gold standard for ADHD treatment. And the first one is that psychiatrists seem to think that maybe ADHD medication isn't the best thing to do because lots of people aren't doing it and potential side effects. But the jury's still out on that, so they're still debating. But no one's debating about exercise. It's good, we should all be doing it. Really, it comes down to what are you interested in and what's fun for you. That's going to be the best exercise. And if at some point it's not interesting anymore, that's okay. Move on to the next thing that you find interesting. The other major change for the gold standard that's potentially down the road is that there's more scientific evidence coming out that CBT doesn't really help with ADHD all that much. Now, I need to be really specific with this. CBT can be really helpful. We can work through past things. We can figure out emotionally what's going on. We can figure out relationships with other people. It's really helpful to talk through some of these things. It's just that the specific help for CBT on ADHD, the research is coming back that it's really not all that helpful. And that's where ADHD coaching comes in. Studies are starting to come out about how effective ADHD coaching is as being part of the gold standard. And they are looking very, very promising. And if you decide to go down the ADHD coaching route, please remember to get an ADHD coach that is credentialed. And that way you can be sure that you're not just talking to an internet self-help bro. And so with that, I have something that I'd like to share with you. So for the past, long time, I have been involved in an ADHD credentialing program. And all of that with the end goal of becoming a credentialed ADHD coach. And that's one of the ways that you know that a lot of the stuff on this channel isn't just things that I've pulled out of various orifices or holes in the ground or whatever that might be. That the things that we talk about on this channel are legit ways to help with ADHD. So if you're interested in looking at ADHD coaching, I'll put a link or an email or something in the description of this video and you can get on the wait list. So thanks for spending some time with me today. I appreciate you. I look forward to the next one where we engineer the crap out of ADHD.